Hey folks, in this video we're highlighting this beautiful set of Sony ES components from the late 90s. These will be offered for sale individually in November of 2020. We're going to highlight the preamp and CD player here in this video. So first the preamp. So this is the Sony E90es. It was offered by Sony in 97, 98, I believe, through 99. Retail for $2,000. They're top of the line preamp at that time, and it's an interesting time for Sony because Sony had been marketing high-end components for several decades, really since the early 70s, and kind of consolidated that, put together a design team, the ES design team in the mid-80s. And so from, say, late, or mid-70s rather, so really from late 70s, say 77, 78, up through the late 90s, the Sony ES components were truly phenomenal. Probably their flagships that are best known today are their CD players, Sony being one of the inventors of the CD format, had a series of flagship CD players really through the 80s and 90s. Phenomenal units, this being one of them. But let's concentrate here on the preamp. So this is really Sony's last great preamp. So there was a lot of changes in the market at this time. So by the late 90s, Sony was really getting big into digital signal processing and home theater and so forth, and they were really early leaders in that space. So at the same time that Sony marketed this, they marketed a variety of digital signal process type units. I believe the E900ES was the flagship, and they sold hotcakes, sold like hotcakes. There were many produced, and they're readily available today. This unit was really unique because this was very much strictly an audiophile unit in tradition of high-end audio that dates back really into the 60s and 70s, with full analog design, discrete components, and just phenomenal build quality. So just a little bit about the build quality. So this weighs 23 pounds, so it's quite a substantial unit. Laid out beautifully. So there's three main boards, plus an input board, plus a kind of control board in the front. But if you think of the three main boards within the unit, you have the power supply, you have essentially the preamp and attenuation, and then you have the phono equalization and preamp board. So actually the phono board is fully a third of this design, and incredible phono stage, which accepts both MM and MC. Let's go ahead and turn it on. It does have a protection circuit when it turns on, so that blinks until it's kicks in. Let's go ahead and mute that while we're talking here. So very much to audiophile standards. Component selection, from probably most noticeable with the capacitor. So really top quality capacitors, Elna Silmic, as well as Nichicon Muse. The attenuator is a multi-gang Alps unit. Really spared no expense in components. PC boards, beautiful glass epoxy PC boards, all laid out flat, nothing stacked or anything like that. Toroidal transformer. The filter capacitors on the power supply are, I mean, you could see those in an amplifier. I mean, they're amazing quality and quite large. So just a note about just some of the things I've done. So this actually came out of my personal system. I was looking to build a ES component system, and this was kind of my first stab at it. Before going to a more earlier period, like the '89 period with the the wood sideburns that folks may be familiar with as well. So really, the preamp's been gone over thoroughly. So all the boards have been checked. You know, all the solder joints, all the capacitors, anything that needed to be didn't check to spec on the capacitors was replaced. Actually, did find one capacitor was out of spec, and then I replaced all four in that part of the circuit with the equivalent Elna Silmix, which are available today and in exactly the same size as they were in 1997. All the power transistors were resoldered, so not just touching the soldering iron and what they call reflow, touching the soldering iron and adding a dab of solder, but desoldered and resoldered, really for excellent reliability on those components that make heat. So I'm not a big fan of just reflowing solder joints, because if you have any suspicion of a solder joint, or if we're going to take the time to feel it needs to be redone, then just reflowing, if anything, you're introducing impurities into that joint. So anyway, just something I like to do. And then the bias trimmers. So there's 4 bias trimmers, 2 on the phono board and 2 on the preamp board. I replaced those with reliable multi-turn units, Bourne's units. So really the best trimmers that are available today. And then, of course, calibrated the unit to specification. So this is a unit I've used it myself. I restored it myself, and the condition, I'd say, is from cosmetic is near mint. So just a couple of things that I could call out. There's on the top there's a scratch probably about a 1/4 inch long towards the back, so nothing that stands out in any way. I do see just a little pinprick there, and this edge right here, few marks on that bottom edge. Otherwise, the face and certainly the sides and top of this unit are easily near mint. It's wonderful condition cosmetically as well as functionally. So let's go ahead and do a little bit of a demo. So we talked about the audiophile standards. Another one is the layout of or topology of the circuit board. So the attenuator is your main control, your input, tape monitor, muting, and then obviously your power switch. Now what's missing is tone controls, stereo mono switches, and anything that would get in the way of signal path has essentially been eliminated. And you probably hear this as I select inputs. See the relays follow what I'm doing with my turning the knob and selecting. And so from an audio signal standpoint, the relays, which are all in excellent condition, I mean every aspect of this unit is excellent. Relays are all mounted adjacent to the inputs, so idea being there to shorten the signal path, not have wires run to a switch and then run to the appropriate part of the circuit. Everything, all the relays allows you to do that. So excellent design and excellent function. There is some information out there on this one. Certainly, it's a well-regarded unit. Very rare. By that time, folks were mostly into different things like your digital signal processing. So not a lot of these available, but they are great when you can find them. And with that, I'll take the muting off, and I have a record playing, so we're in the MM or moving magnet position of the phono cartridge. Let's go ahead and turn on the CD player, and then we'll just switch to CD. But anyway, so again, very simple. You have your input, and then you have your attenuation. So let's go back on mute, and let's focus now on the CD player. So this is the Sony Xa50es. It's really the last great generation of Sony CD players. The late 90s. After this, they really departed and started working on Super Audio CD, which never really became a thing. So in my mind, these are the last great the last great generation. Where the E90es was the absolute top of the line for the preamp side, the Xa50es was one step down from the top of the line. So the top of the line was the Xa7es, available globally, I believe. Now the Xa50es was only available in Europe and Japan. My understanding is because it included a set of selectable audio filters. Now these are just a note on those filters, because that's really kind of the main differentiator for this unit versus the Xa7es. The audio filters, they're not gimmicky things like you know, any type of you know, those effects like jazz, concert hall, whatever. These are strictly audio, really audiophile grade filters on how the signal is attenuated and rolled off above 20,000 kilohertz. So I think we know the CD standard is 44,000 samples, which gives you a top audio response of 22,000 kilohertz. So above that, the signal is rolled off or attenuated in order to eliminate noise. And there's many different ways in the way that could be attenuated. It could be attenuated sharply. It can roll off. It could roll off, you know, smoothly at different levels. And so the filters, and just I'll hit the filter button. You can see there's a selection. There's basically your standard filter: 1, 2, 3 A, B, C, 4 A, B, C, and back to standard. If you leave it on the standard, and this is basically was Sony's standard. My understanding why this unit was not available in North America was basically patent issues. So some of those filters were used by some of these other alternative filters that were offered in this unit were used, or maybe even patented by some of your other high-end manufacturers in the U.S. And they're very subtle in their effect. You know, I would say my personal way of kind of listening to some of the distinction is through really nice recordings of you know, very nice open recordings of piano music where you can really get that sense of attack. So again, subtle, really in the realm of you know, audiophile grade type stuff, not gimmicky. So so again, this unit, similar to the preamp, is just incredible build quality. It weighs almost 34 pounds, so very solid. Kind of the layout is you know, power supply, then transport, and the your transport related electronics, and then your audio. So one note about DACs or digital audio conversion. First of all, I didn't write it down, but if you do a little research, this one has a excellent DAC and very well regarded DAC to this day. One of just a handful from say this earlier period from 80s getting into the 90s when Sony and Philips and some others, Burr Brown as example, had some really great DACs. But anyway, but apart from just the DAC, if you've done any research on DAC, you know there's the DAC itself, and then there's the audio componentry that surrounds and supports the DAC, and that's another area where this unit excels. The audio components, the audio board, is really didn't leave anything to be desired on this one. Excellent quality. Again, like the quality of the capacitors, looking at you know, mainly Nichicon, Elna, and fantastic quality component selection on this one, just like the preamp. So I think we kind of hit the main thing, which is the filters. One of the things that this does, so it does share most of what you would be able to read about, say, for the Xa50es. That one had a copper-plated chassis, a couple other minor tweaks, but this one does share the transport, which is really Sony's last great transport. So, drawer type of transport, but the entire transport is mounted here. And what distinguishes it, well, you notice it has the puck, and that's necessary for it to play. It has the puck, and you have the spindle and the laser assembly, and the laser assembly is fixed. So in contrast to most units, the CD spins on the spindle unit, and then the laser assembly moves in relation to it. Okay, and on this unit, the philosophy is that the CD is spinning anyway; it's already moving. So let's let that also move laterally forward, toward or away from over the laser unit, and keep the laser unit fixed. So this shares the same transport and laser assembly as the Xa50es. I'm just mentioning that because that might be a little bit more familiar, as this unit was only available in Europe and Japan. And just a note on that, so it does require a transformer. I'd recommend, if you're interested, just message me or something. There's a transformer I recommend, fairly inexpensive, but there's a lot of poorly made transformers out there, or voltage conversion transformers out there. So for a little more money, you can get a very good one. But not sure how well this comes out. But as the drawer goes in, you may notice that the CD is getting closer relative to the laser, so it's moving back in the drawer so that the first song is ready to play. So in a CD, the first song is towards the inside of the CD, last song on the outside, so the opposite of a record player. So this is set on CD, and let's go ahead and hit play. Now, I didn't put the puck in, so if it shows this, it means you didn't put your puck in. And this actually has the puck from an Xa7ES, so interchangeable on the pucks. So it's definitely looking for that puck to be in place, and it won't play if it's not. So one thing I like about this unit, let's see. Oh, we had our mute. So one thing I like about this unit, and it's pretty quick. Let me use the go ahead. So I have, I'm offering this with a remote. Remotes are fairly easy to find on eBay or otherwise, and any CD player remote will work with this. And you just find one that has, say, the selection of buttons and features that you like in the form factor. This one, because it's fairly thin, but still I can do, instant selection of songs. There's 5. If I plus the +10 button, I could say go to 12. I don't have 12 selections on the record. Say if I go to 9, all the way back to 1. So, 9 back to 1 essentially means the laser, you're traveling from one end of the CD to another. So it really gets to it's very quick and accurate mechanism. So another thing, let's just pause for a moment. So the pause and the play do light up with these dots. The filter also lights up if you have it filtered. It does have a number of play modes and other selections. So I think Sony had introduced shuffle, which is kind of their version of random. You can certainly do shuffle mode, and it will just now we're playing number 8. One nice thing is it does have this jog wheel versus the map of buttons here. So most of your remotes are going to have a map of buttons, and this one, rather than that, has the jog wheel.